this is a comment that I just got, and I want to speak to it. I would not be doing my job as just a content creator if anytime we flip sentiment, bullish to bearish to bullish to bearish, I flip my tune, like I change my tune. You know what I'm saying? I have a macro thesis that I've been covering on this YouTube channel for years now, right? If we zoom out on the altcoin charts here, I've been doing videos since the top of this bull market back here, right? So I have been in very tough, bearish environments. And right now we're in one. And I want to speak to that. And I want to document it. I want to document these comments, though I really don't enjoy reading them at all, especially lately. Some of them are absolutely nasty. I delete some of them because it's just, I don't want them on my feed. I want to speak to this because one thing, actually speaking directly to that comment, is why on YouTube is it so incredible that I am still bullish? We were in a bear market down here. This is an altcoin chart, but it represents what I'm saying. We've been in a higher low move for altcoins, right? What is wrong about being bullish on this space right now? And ultimately, and probably more importantly, what is so surprising about it? Because if you zoom out on something like S&P 500, I know I've been talking a lot about this lately, but we have quantitative tightening now coming to an end. This is such a glaringly obvious data point to pay attention to. And nothing is guaranteed in these markets, right? We could absolutely go a good amount lower, but we have quantitative tightening coming to an end. We have the US dollar really beginning to fall in a similar sense that it did in Trump's first term. We've been talking about all of these things, and we have M2 money supply absolutely just increasing, kind of acting as a leading indicator for crypto. We've seen this. And so a lot of things are coming together to be bullish, not to mention this correction that we're getting right now, right before all of these things potentially happening. That is to say, quantitative tightening slowing down, coming to an end, interest rates coming down. This is a great correction on the S&P 500, and it might continue lower. I just did a video last week talking about the similarities to Trump in the first term. He did something very similar as far as tariffs in December 2018. Markets did not like it. It spooked markets. Crypto crashed, but that was the bottom, and there was a reversal shortly thereafter. So to answer your question or to speak to that a little bit, these are reasons why I'm bullish. And I don't think there should be anything wrong with that. And if you're out there and you're just, nonchalantly just going across content creator videos, I really encourage you to stop leaving just such hate comments. I think it's fine to disagree and to have kind of like a dialogue about why you disagree. But I really encourage you for your own well-being and for your own spirit to stop doing that. But I want to do analysis in this video. Tariffs, the whole thing happened today. The tariffs are working. This is Anthony Pompliano. The tariffs are working. I will keep saying it until everyone understands it. X is, I don't know if you're only on YouTube or not, but if you're like a macro bull or you're quiet, just viewer out there, if you're not on X, get on X. There is really good dialogue and content happening on X. I'm not saying it's not happening on YouTube, but get on X as well, because it is there's a whole different vibe. Here's Anthony Pompliano again. Tariffs force countries back to free trade. Very simple concept, but misunderstood by most people. So I'm not going to, in this video, talk about tariffs, right? There's a lot of really smart people talking about tariffs and why they are good and helpful to America. And they talk about how America's been ripped off for long enough and it's simply just not happening anymore. And people are furious about that. But this ultimately is a win, and this is a good thing that is happening right now. It is a good thing for even markets, even though they look kind of choppy and terrible on the short term. These are good things, everybody. So as we start kind of going into the analysis of all, because I want to do analysis, because at the end of the day, whether these things are happening or not, we're in a consolidation. And I really want to just track the consolidation. So I've been talking about Bitcoin. I did a video earlier. I mean, this was literally hours ago. I'm not going to show a clip, but what were we talking about? We were really just talking about some type of rejection on these charts, right? You can kind of just see discussing the fake out. And so far it's happened. So for Bitcoin, I just want to take a little bit of time and look at Bitcoin charts, and then I want to look at ADA charts, and then I'm going to look at Ethereum charts. So Bitcoin, there's the rejection. No matter what is happening in these markets, we're waiting for what we've been waiting for, and that's what's so brutal about this process, especially for me that, tracking and doing videos about this, is it just takes time, right? And I've been using this consolidation as a very good example, just because I think while I'm doing these videos, it's just on the screen. It's right there. But you can go back to any Bitcoin dip, or a lot of Bitcoin dips, I should say, and there is a brutal fake out, up and down volatility to it, right? And this is just a really good example of what that looks like. So the way to kind of, for me, anticipate breaking out of that repetitive, brutal process that we're in, and this could go on for weeks now, the way for me to do that is to get the confirmations at the moving averages. So in today's video, I was discussing, hey, it's a beautiful candle, right? It was a beautiful daily candle, and it's actually crazy because look at how it ended. It was this candle. We were tracking the pump. I think we were around the 200-day moving average. We were tracking it, and then we were just talking about, hey, this is literally the confirmation area. Can Bitcoin close above that area? And it simply did not. It was resistance. And sometimes we get resistance because of news. Sometimes we just get resistance without news. It doesn't matter why it's happening. It's resistance. So resistance, as we're going to update the video from earlier, played out. And that's what it looks like. And it just is what it is. This is why I did the video discussing the resistance and the potential for downside. And what we talked about was basically sweeping, even potentially testing the previous swing lows back into the 70s. And right now, Bitcoin's kind of just doing its thing, right? We could open this, or we open the candle, but we could wake up tomorrow and this is red and we're falling lower. This could be trying to kind of test the 20-day moving average again. These are the things that I'll be watching on the short term. But at the end of the day, everybody, when I look at comments like this, somebody laughing at me because I'm bullish in this macro environment of crypto with there's so much macro bullishness happening. For me, it's just an absolute no when it comes to not having exposure to these markets right now. It's just no, it's not going to happen. It's so risky, in my view, to not have exposure to crypto. It really is. And you look at a Bitcoin weekly chart zoomed out, and it's like, man, why is everybody freaking out so much? And this is where we are. We're in the throwback of the inverse head and shoulders. I will say, when it comes to altcoin charts, I understand the frustration. It did not have its, breakout moment here, right? Did not even break previous highs of the last bull market. Bitcoin did, and it's kind of like coming back right here and testing, and altcoins failed, and they're all the way down here. I get that. But what I'm saying is that is because the altcoin bull market has not happened yet, and I think it will when we get that liquidity pump, when we get quantitative tightening starting to slow down even. It doesn't even need to be QE is just in full effect. I think that pump is coming. I think things are coming together very well. It's just requiring patience. This is just my view, right? And that's the other thing. I don't know why people act like it's my fault, right? I say time and time again in my videos, this is just how I see the charts. It could all go to zero. Be careful. And at the end of the day, everybody's responsible for their own decisions, right? But even so, I don't see what is wrong with being bullish on this chart and on the crypto space. Let's look at ADA charts. Because when it comes to ADA charts, I just want to mention something. This is what ADA does. It looks absolutely terrible. And this is over the years. This is kind of what it does. And I'm not saying, hey, it's going to end here and then boom, we're pumping. But it's just what ADA does. It looks very bad right before it just gets very good, right? And here's the thing. You just don't know exactly when it will happen. I think liquidity will be a big deal here. In the sense of, are we here? Right? Are we here? You just don't know. And what I do like about the Cardano chart, at least on the weekly so far it's still intact. I know I've been talking about this a lot. It's just the structure and everything that we have right now is very similar to last cycle, right? We're running a little bit behind, but we are kind of like right here. We're in between that 20 and the 50, and I like that area to be in between right now. That might not hold up very soon or very well, right? We could fail below this 50-week moving average, around 60 cents. It's not that far away. And what I'd be watching for is ADA going to close a weekly candle below? But even still, if it does, I'm reminding myself of what is happening right now in terms of crypto, in terms of the current administration, in terms of quantitative tightening. And this is applying to all altcoins. Quantitative tightening coming to an end. In terms of we looked at the yields chart, 10-year yields are starting to fall. US dollar is starting to fall. I'm looking at these things, everybody. And I am, this is why I'm saying there's no way that I can just sit here and not have exposure to these markets and be bullish on these markets. I was bullish anyway, but we have those things. If those things were not in play, if we are in a different macro environment in terms of those things, I would be having a different tune. But I'm not going to sit here just because I'm getting all these bearish comments and so many people are bearish. I'm not going to sit here and turn into a bear. I'm just not going to do it. And I do want to document this, and I want to document it strongly to say, you know what? I realize it could all fail, but I'm sitting here tracking my crypto journey, and I'm doing it pretty openly and candidly. So in terms of ADA, if the 50-week moving average fails, is that like a bear market confirmation for me? It's not. I'm still watching for the higher low ultimately, and we've talked about this, kind of this higher low move from the bear market lows, very similar to the altcoin charts. But if you go to ADA on the daily chart, it's kind of like you get a sense of, all right, here's what needs to happen. It kind of needs to happen quick. It is the flippening of these moving averages. And that's why I like moving averages so much. They're so simple. They're easy to watch and view and wait, right? And right now we keep getting continued rejection at the 20-day moving average, the 200 and the 50. We need to flip these things. So there's nothing to do but wait, right? 70 cents up to around 75 cents. That's the area. What is so meaningful about it is that's like that bottom of the bear market door area. That's that 200-week moving average over here on the weekly chart. That is such an important area. If we can see ADA start, closing a weekly candle above that area, we can really start talking, I think, bullish. We can start talking about an actual macro bullish flip. But there's a lot of resistance, as we just saw on the daily chart, to that area. Now, if it all fails, it's just like, all right, we're gonna chop into these wicks that we've had already, and this is a story that we've been anticipating anyway. As we're bottoming out, it's kind of like the same with Bitcoin, the same with everything. It's just, we see these cryptos, they kind of just retest those previous swing lows, right? Here's a wick of this daily candle at the end of February in like the 50s, like 58. We could retest that area. Who knows how the bottoming out formation process will happen. But what I will say is I will be keeping an eye on things like, if we do fall lower, there's a lower low on price, but here potentially would be a higher low on the RSI. This could be a signal for some type of reversal and the bottoming out of ADA, the brutal bottoming out of ADA. And these are just how these things go. Speaking of bullish divergence, Ethereum on the daily chart, this is what it looks like right now. And, we do a lot of comparison on the Bitcoin charts, right? In terms of the brutal consolidation back here. There's the August 2024, just high fear swing low. And it really was the low. But just notice how basically for months, Ethereum just faked everybody out over and over and over again and really just kept testing the lows. We might be in that environment. One thing I want to point out, though, is though we don't know how long this will last, right? We don't know how choppy. We don't know what it will look like. I do want to point out we are getting kind of a similar higher low RSI bullish divergence type of look and feel on this chart. And that's something I just want to point out right now. I will be patient to wait to see how this plays out. If we take a fractal from kind of when it kind of fell right there, right, to when it finally exited, and we take it over here, maybe to like right here, you can just see, oh man, like, is this for real going to last till June? I don't know. It could, but at the same time, we could actually just start trending up now, right? I don't know how this is going to play out, everybody, but I will say this. It wasn't popular to be bullish back here. and we saw what eventually happened for Ethereum. But in the same sense, if we go back on the charts on any crypto, it wasn't popular to be bullish back here or even right here, right? This was called probably some type of fake out or bull trap. And then we're all the way back down to the 2022 lows. And then it was up. So it's going to be a grueling process. And I'm here tracking it, but I continually remind myself, and I didn't want to just repeat it so much in this video, but I really am trying to remind myself of, you know what, here's what's going on right now. And here's why, in my view, we're not entering a bear market, as many people are saying so simply, but we're in a correction and we're going to get a bounce because of the macroeconomic landscape and what is happening, even here in America. I think it's just a patience game, and that's the game that I'm playing. And at the end of the day, I'll say it again, maybe I'm wrong, everybody, but I'm just tracking that. I'm just tracking my opinion with all of y'all. So chill out there. And, you know, whether you're out there leaving the negative comments or you're just a silent watcher, either way, I love you. I appreciate you cruising through. Hang in there, please. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Turn notifications on. And if you did enjoy this video, smash the like button. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.